The world woke up one morning to news so unbelievable it felt like a cruel mistake. Yu Menglong was dead. The rising sun seemed dimmer, the skies unusually heavy, as if nature itself knew a star had fallen. For fans across the globe, the name Yu Menglong wasn't just another celebrity in the endless parade of stardom. It was a symbol of youthful charm, raw talent, and the kind of vulnerability that felt real in an industry often painted with illusions. His death didn't feel like the passing of an idol. It felt like losing a friend. What makes this story extraordinary isn't just the tragedy itself, but the way the scenes unfolded, each one stranger, more haunting, and more unforgettable than the last. The night before his death, eyewitnesses reported seeing him in the city, quietly slipping out of a restaurant after meeting with close friends. He smiled, waved politely to a few fans who spotted him, and even signed autographs with the same warmth he had always been known for. Nothing about him hinted at the storm about to strike. He looked alive, radiant even, like a man at peace. But behind that gentle smile may have been a secret none of us were meant to know. The morning after was chaos wrapped in silence. Calls to his phone went unanswered. His assistant, worried, tried knocking at his hotel door. No reply. Hours later, when security finally opened it, the scene that greeted them will forever haunt those who entered. The room felt untouched, almost staged by fate itself. The curtains were drawn, letting in just enough sunlight to paint him in a soft glow. He lay there on the bed, perfectly still, as if asleep, but his stillness was the kind that could never be broken again. A half-written note rested on the desk, beside a cup of cold tea and an unlit candle. The note contained only a few fragmented words. Sorry, tired, thank you. When the news broke, the internet didn't just react, it erupted. Within minutes, Yu Menglong dominated global trends. Fans across Asia, Europe, and America flooded social media with disbelief, grief, and desperate denial. Some refused to believe it altogether, insisting it was a hoax. Others shared their favorite clips, crying as they replayed interviews where he laughed, joked, and promised to give fans even more in the future. Candlelight vigils began spontaneously across cities, fans holding posters of his face, their tears glowing in the candle flames. But the most gut-wrenching scenes unfolded at his official memorial. Thousands crowded the streets, wearing black, holding white flowers, their silence more deafening than screams could ever be. As his casket passed slowly through the sea of mourners, people reached out with trembling hands, as though trying to touch just a fraction of the man they had lost. Some fainted, some wailed so loudly the sound carried for blocks. And yet, amidst this grief, there was also a surreal beauty. Thousands of paper lanterns released into the night sky, drifting upward like stars returning to heaven, each one carrying a silent prayer. Inside the industry, his colleagues were shattered. A co-star broke down on live television, whispering he was always the first to arrive on set and the last to leave. He never complained, not once. Maybe he should have. Directors recalled how he would practice a single line 100 times, seeking perfection not for fame, but for his love of the art. Behind the scenes, assistants revealed how he'd quietly donate his earnings to children in need, never announcing it, never seeking praise. His kindness wasn't performative, it was who he truly was. That realization only deepened the pain. The unanswered question remains, what caused his death? Official reports were vague, leaving fans to drown in speculation. Some whispered it was exhaustion, his body finally succumbing to the brutal demands of filming schedules. Others murmured about personal struggles, the invisible battles that fame cannot shield from the human heart. Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire, industry betrayal, hidden pressures, toxic contracts. But no matter the reason, one truth remained unshakable. The world had been robbed of a light it wasn't ready to lose. What makes his death feel almost cinematic is the series of eerie signs fans discovered in hindsight. Old interviews resurfaced where he spoke cryptically about life and purpose. In one, he said, "Sometimes I wonder if people would still love me if I wasn't perfect." In another, he confessed, "I feel like a candle, burning bright, but burning fast." At the time, Fans thought he was being poetic. Now, those words sound like shadows of prophecy. His last Instagram post didn't help ease the sting. It showed him staring at a sunset, with a caption, "Every end is just another beginning." But even in death, Yu Menglong did something extraordinary. He united people. Across nations, languages, and backgrounds, fans gathered, shared stories, and comforted one another. They created memorial pages, organized charity projects in his name, and even held concerts where fellow artists performed his songs as tributes. His music climbed charts again, not as fleeting hits but as eternal reminders of his voice, now immortal. Artists began speaking openly about mental health, demanding reforms in the industry so no other star would have to silently bear the weight he carried. His death sparked conversations that could save lives in the future, ironically giving him the power to change the world even more than he did in life. Perhaps the most touching scene came from his family. At his funeral, his mother, holding back tears, placed his childhood toy, a small stuffed bear, on top of his casket. Cameras captured her whispering, "You'll always be my little boy." That single gesture broke the internet. Fans around the globe shared the clip with captions like, "He was a star to us, but a son to her." It was a sobering reminder that behind the fame, Yu Menglong was still human, still fragile, still someone's child. And yet, despite the grief, his legacy refuses to fade. Fans have turned his memory into a living flame. Street murals of his smiling face now brighten city walls. His quotes are painted on banners carried at protests for better working conditions in the entertainment industry. Schools have begun scholarships in his name, granting opportunities to students who dream of acting but lack resources. Each of these acts is a thread, weaving his story into eternity. The pain of his loss lingers like a shadow, but so does the beauty of his impact. To love an artist like Yu Menglong was to witness the magic of someone who didn't just perform for audiences but lived for them. He gave everything, his time, his health, his energy, because he believed in bringing joy to others. That sacrifice is what makes his story not just tragic, but deeply inspiring. And maybe, just maybe, that's the way he wanted it. To remind the world that life is fragile, that dreams are fleeting, and that we must hold on to each other tighter before it's too late. His final curtain fell too soon, but his presence remains, etched into songs, films, memories, and the hearts of millions who will never forget him. Yu Menglong's death isn't just another celebrity tragedy. It's a moment in history where time itself seemed to pause, where the world collectively grieved, and where a star's light grew brighter even as it faded from the earth. He is gone, yes, but in the echo of his laughter, in the warmth of his smile, in the inspiration he left behind, Yu Menglong is forever. So tonight, when you look at the sky, notice the stars. One of them, burning just a little brighter, might be him, watching, smiling, reminding us that though his body is gone, his spirit is eternal. Thank you for staying with me through this heart-stirring journey into Yu Menglong's final story. If his legacy touched your soul, help keep it alive. Like, share, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more stories that bring you closer to the human side of fame. The silence inside Yu Menglong's hotel room was the kind that seemed alive, pressing down on the walls, whispering secrets no one wanted to hear. His assistant stood frozen in the doorway, her trembling hands clutched at her phone, unable to decide whether to scream, cry, or collapse. The man the world adored, the man who had sung love songs under blinding lights, who had acted in dramas that left millions swooning, was lying motionless just a few feet away. The first responders arrived within minutes, but every second stretched like eternity. Paramedics rushed forward, voices sharp, orders echoing. Machines beeped, chest compressions were attempted, yet the truth hung heavy in the air. It was already too late. Yu Menglong, the bright star whose eyes once lit up screens, whose laughter echoed in rehearsals, whose warmth was felt even from afar, had already slipped into the kind of silence no one can return from. The room itself was hauntingly ordinary. The television still hummed faintly, showing reruns of a variety show he once appeared in. His phone buzzed occasionally with unread messages, some from friends, some from fans who would never know he'd never reply. A script lay open on the table, lines underlined in his neat handwriting, promises of roles and futures that now would remain forever unfinished. The glass of water on his nightstand was untouched, almost mocking in its stillness. Outside, chaos brewed. Hotel staff whispered in corridors, their faces pale. Someone dropped a tray, the crash startling everyone but doing nothing to break the spell of dread. Security tried to manage the crowd forming at the entrance, people already sensing something was wrong. Within minutes, the news began leaking, first as rumors, then as headlines. And when the first headline hit the internet, Yu Menglong found dead, the world cracked. Fans gasped, scrolled frantically, refreshing feeds as if waiting for someone to deny it. "This must be fake news," they cried online. Others typed in disbelief, "No, not him. Not Yu Menglong." Hashtags exploded. The internet drowned in shock, grief, and denial. Videos of his last interviews resurfaced within hours, clips replayed millions of times, with comments filled with crying emojis and broken hearts. Back at the hotel, the scene outside grew surreal. A group of young fans gathered with posters still fresh from his latest drama. Some knelt on the ground, sobbing so hard they couldn't stand. Others clung to each other, whispering, "This isn't real. He'll post again. You'll see." Taxi drivers stopped and rolled down their windows to listen. Even strangers who didn't know him deeply felt the weight of loss, the kind that made the air heavier, the city quieter. Meanwhile, his colleagues received the news in waves. On set, one director reportedly fell to his knees when he heard, unable to process the words. Co-stars locked themselves in dressing rooms, crying uncontrollably. One actress, who had acted as his love interest in a recent drama, posted a single line on social media. "Please tell me this is just another script." The line alone gathered millions of comments in minutes, fans echoing her disbelief. By evening, the hotel entrance became a sea of mourners. Candles flickered, flowers lined the sidewalks, and the faint sound of his songs played from speakers someone had brought. It was heartbreaking and beautiful, a spontaneous tribute from people who couldn't accept that their idol, their friend, their inspiration, was truly gone. The most chilling moment came when a fan read aloud the unfinished draft found on his phone. "I'm tired, but I'll be fine. Don't worry." The words carried through the crowd like a ghostly echo, piercing hearts with unbearable sorrow. People cried out, asking why he hadn't reached out, why no one had seen the signs, why life could be so cruel to someone so gentle. Even the media, often criticized for its harshness, couldn't hide its grief. News anchors fought tears as they delivered the story. Entertainment programs scrapped their regular schedules to run tributes, showing montages of Yu Menglong smiling, laughing, acting, singing, as though trying to hold on to him through the screen. Each clip became a dagger, each smile a reminder of what had been lost. But perhaps the most unforgettable scene happened not in the public eye, but within his family's grief. His parents, stunned and broken, arrived later that night. His mother, clutching a scarf he once wore, had to be supported as she walked. She refused to let go of the scarf, pressing it to her face, whispering his name as if he might suddenly answer. His father stood stoic, his face pale, his fists clenched, but his trembling betrayed him. For the world, Yu Menglong was a star. For them, he was simply their son, and now, that son would never come home again. And so the city, the nation, and indeed the world, was forced to sit with the reality that Yu Menglong's light had been extinguished far too soon. People replayed his songs not just for entertainment, but as prayers. They rewatched his dramas not just for escape, but to feel close to him one more time. His death wasn't just a news story. It was a collective heartbreak that bound millions together. The scenes of that day remain etched in memory. The stillness of his final room, the chaos outside the hotel, the shockwaves tearing through social media, the tears of colleagues, the sobbing of fans under candlelight, and the unbearable grief of his parents. Together, they painted a picture not just of loss, but of the extraordinary impact one man had on countless lives. Yu Menglong's story didn't end that day. It transformed. In death, he became not just an idol, but a symbol, a reminder of fragility, a lesson about hidden pain, and a call to cherish those we love before it's too late. His legacy is etched not just in the roles he played or the songs he sang, but in the hearts he touched and the tears shed for him. And though the curtain fell too soon, his memory will forever remain in the spotlight. Thank you for watching this emotional continuation of Yu Menglong's final chapter. If his story touched your heart today, please make sure to like, share, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more heartfelt stories that honor the lives and legacies of the stars we love.